I do this with my fingers crossed at the beginning because I'm keeping my fingers crossed and everything goes off without a hitch. Hey, Vicki, how you doing today?
Great. How are you doing, Brenda?
I am doing great as well. And Vicki and I were
Good.
talking in the pre-show, and I was explaining to her that I'm a newer user of Restream. So it's a bit like when you go to the grocery store in a different town and they sell milk and bread and eggs and chocolate or whatever, but it's in a different aisle. So it's a little
Yes.
bit of a jarring on the navigation. But Vicki's a great friend. She's very comfortable in video. And we're going to be talking today about video marketing made simple for introverts. So before we jump into that conversation, Vicki, I'm going to ask our audience if you are watching this now. We're on 3 networks. We're on LinkedIn Live, we're on YouTube Live, and we are on Instagram. We'd love it if you could drop a comment. The comments let us know that the live stream is picking up. And it's also a really great way, just like Royce is doing right now, to identify yourself in the audience. And
There's
while those
G.
comments are coming in, Vicki, why don't you take a minute and tell us about yourself? So if you could start with your name, what's your business, and then tell us a little bit about what do you do and who do you help?
Yeah, that'd be great. So, Vicki O'Neill, my business is all about YouTube or video marketing. And I serve women over 40 who happen to be introverts and want to really step into their spotlight, but might be challenged with how to get started with video. They might be fearful of getting on camera. And I can help them through all of those different steps because I've been in all of those different steps. So, yeah, I really enjoy that and working with women over 40.
Is that a shift for you working with women over 40? Because I seem to recall it was just video marketing generally or video tips in general. Is that a recent shift for you to get a little bit more of a niche focus?
Yeah, so I did that about, well, a couple of different more fine tuning that I've done over the last couple of months is honing in on women over 40
Mhm.
and then also YouTube. So I realized that there's a lot, well, I already knew this, but sharing the information with people is there's so much opportunity on YouTube. And
Mhm.
especially for women or over 40, it's an underserved market. So, and we
Mhm.
have so much value and so much experience to share that it's going to be increasingly important to have a footprint on YouTube moving forward, just not with all of the things that they're going to be doing, but just really to like elevate our brand in different places so that we can reach net new people.
Awesome. And I'm definitely leaning in because I fall in that category. I just turned 50 in September. And as a woman, I always, if when I can, I try to give business to fellow women because I feel like we need to support each other out there. And there's a lot of great men that are out in the world as well. But whenever I can find a woman to work with as a service provider, I kind of always feel like she gets me, and there's
Yes.
something that goes along with that. So I see we've got lots of great people in the audience today. So we're going to jump right
Nice.
in here. And again, if you're just joining us, we're talking today about video marketing for introverts. And I'm going to just kind of start with a wide open question, Vicki, which is what advice do you have for us if we are an introvert and we're looking to do more video?
Yeah, great question. Because I know that's one thing that introverts tend to like struggle with. And I think, too, just to kind of set the record straight, that as an introvert, it's not about being shy, it's not about being less confident. It's all about how we leverage our energy. And from an introvert standpoint, it's actually easier, if you think about it, to create videos because you can do everything from home or from your office. So a lot of people think, I've got to get on video. But when you do all the planning and everything that you need to ahead of time to create even just one video, whether it's a reel, whether it's a YouTube, whether it's a video for LinkedIn, a lot of that's done off camera. So you can really tap into that energy to put all of your efforts into thinking through, what's the title? What's the best value I can deliver in the shortest amount of time? What's the call to action? So really thinking through all those different things and then only being on camera for 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how long you want that video to be. But if you have it all planned ahead of time, then it makes it a lot easier to get that video done within at least 3 attempts. Because I
Okay,
know we
I like
struggle
that.
sometimes, right? But if
Yeah.
you plan, then you can get it done a lot faster.
Yeah, I like, and it all kind of comes with practice. And what I love in your introductory comments there about using video as an introvert, I think a lot of us as introverts, and I'm an introvert, by the way, I self-identify as an introvert. I will always, even if I'm comfortable being on stage and being on camera, I still am an
Mhm.
introvert,
Yeah.
which is a character. It's like a description of our personality and how we do things and also how we recharge ourselves. And what I love
Mhm.
about your description is as introverts, we like to research things and we like to plan things and we like
Yeah.
to, be in our own for territory when you say like you can do these things from home, and in the production prep might be a lot longer than the actual video. Did I hear
Yeah.
you say that correctly?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because if you're going to actually do, and I'm talking about too, I mean, even when you're doing short form videos, like if you're doing reels or TikToks and they're vertical under 60 seconds, you still have to plan for those. But if you're doing like longer form videos, then you do have to do some prepping and planning and researching to figure out like what am I going to talk about, what
Mhm.
order, the hooks, the micro hooks, like all the things that you need within your video, which because you do a great job on video.
I
But just
watch
doing all those
you. I
things.
learned from you. So if anyone watching is like, Brenda, you do great on video, I'm going to point over here because Vicky's been really instrumental in helping me. And I learned from you. And I see you do a video and I will email you back or message you and I'll be like, oh, I love it. Do you mind if I copy your idea? And you're like, go for it.
Yeah. I'm like, I want to see it. Tag me. I want to see it.
Yeah.
I love
And
it
you
when
did.
people do that because it shows that you're taking the initiative and not only
Yeah.
just stepping into your power and
Mhm.
saying, I got this, but you're also kind of getting outside your comfort zone too and saying, hey, I'm going to try something new because
Yeah.
you see the value, right?
Yeah. It's flattering, right? It's
Yeah.
flattering. I always like want to reach out first and say, because you inspired me, I want to give you credit. Like, I will let people know this video was inspired by Vicki O'Neill. Like, I don't want to take credit for it. And maybe that's an introvert quality as well. Whereas, like, as an extrovert, would I do that or would I just do a video? I don't know. But at any rate, I love that we can, do these things through the comfort of our home. So let's
Hmm.
assume there's someone who's watching today who's not doing any video at all or very little video, and they want to increase their video marketing presence to support their business, to grow their business. So
Hmm.
do we need a fancy camera? What kind of stuff do we need to get started? Talk to us about that.
Now, I would say everybody right now, I'm going to say it with 100% certainty that you
Mhm.
have exactly what you need to start creating videos. And the reason why I say that is because we all have a smartphone, and the
Mhm.
camera quality in the smartphones today is the same as what a professional camera was like 10 years ago. So, especially if you're going to use the rear facing camera, so not the selfie mode, but the other
Mhm.
one, it's got a higher quality camera. And that's really all you need. And so, like right now, I'm not using professional lighting.
Mhm.
I'm using a window. The lighting's good. Now, the backdrop's not the best, but this isn't my typical location either. So, I would say as long as you've got your phone, you've got a quiet space, and you've got a
Mhm.
window, this is actually having a background like this is actually good because then
Mhm.
the focus stays on the person and
Right.
not so much of like all the stuff going on in the background.
All the stuff going on in the background,
All
which
the stuff.
like compare and contrast. I've got a bookshelf, I've got little fun signs, I've got a picture of
I
my
love
dog
it.
rear it. So, and when you said that, like the background's not ideal, I'm like, I actually think the background is ideal. And you came to that point. You're like, actually, it is
Mhm.
good because it's the focus is on you. Your face is
Yeah.
well lit, the background behind you is intentional. What we don't want to do is have anything that's in the background that's taking away from our message, right? We want to have
Right.
intentional backgrounds. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I would say so definitely. And I want to say hi, just real quick because I see people saying hi, Vicky. I want to say hi to April G. I know John Asperian, he was doing a lot of movement today, and I
Yes.
saw him in the chat too.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to see without my glasses on. So everybody else, hi. Hi. But yeah, I would say that your background, as long as it doesn't look messy. So like if your
Yeah.
shelf, if you had books that were like tipped
Mhm.
over and they were upside down and they were like all kinds of
Yeah.
different shapes inside, and that might drive people who might have more OCD tendencies
Right.
not to want to watch your videos because it triggers them.
Yeah.
But if you do, a nice background, it's all branded, it's nice, you're demonstrating maybe books that you've read, ones that you recommend, your own book, your own books, all those things I think is really
Over there.
good. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going to point up in that direction over there.
Right. And I intentionally, as we're talking about today, we're talking about video marketing for introverts. And you can see I just shifted the view from the wide view, which allows you to see a little bit more of the background,
Mhm,
to the upfront view, where the
mhm,
focus is more on our faces. So,
yeah,
and I know there's a million little techniques. Like I go super deep into LinkedIn and probably marketing, and you go super deep into video.
yeah,
So, talk to us right now. I mean, you mentioned earlier it's better to do the back facing video, it's higher quality than the front facing.
yeah.
What other like little inside tips can you give us about making our video look better?
Yeah, so I would say definitely use the rear facing camera.
Mhm.
And some people might say, okay, well, I can't see myself. What I do is that where I do a lot of my videos, there's like a mirror on the wall, so I can actually position the camera so I can see if I'm centered.
Hmm.
Also, if you have the camera out far enough, so like when you do the wide lens, Brenda, when you zoom us
Hmm.
out,
Yeah,
that gives some flexibility. Yeah. So
like
if
that.
you do it
Mhm.
like this, and you're like, okay, I'm not centered. And I do this all the time because I think I'm centered, but I can't see it exactly. So I'm just like, crap. So then you crop it and then you move it so that you are
Yeah.
centered. So
Mhm.
I think a lot of people go into it saying that there has to be this level of perfect, of what it looks like.
Mhm.
And to let you know, like right now, like I'm centered, but if I recorded it and I was like this, I'd be perfectly fine with it. Because
Right.
then you just zoom in and then you just move me over and then it's centered. It's super
Yeah.
easy. I know I make it sound super easy, but it's not as hard as what people make it out to be. And then
I
if you
think a
use
lot
something
of
like, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say if you use something like CapCut,
Yeah.
it's really easy to use. In fact, I do a lot. I was telling somebody this last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. I was like, I just edited my long form video that I put on YouTube. I did it on my phone because
Really?
CapCut's so easy to use
Mhm.
that I just put my glasses on, I get on my phone, and I start editing. It's
Yeah.
easy. Yeah.
I'm gonna put a little, ticker running down there for CapCut at the bottom because
You're a
I
huge
love that.
proponent.
And I use the free version. Are you using the premium, the paid version of it,
I
Vicki?
did upgrade because I
Okay.
knew they were gonna do this at some point. They took things like the teleprompter and then the auto captions, and
Hmm.
they moved them into the Pro.
Gotcha.
And so I'm all about let's just do super quick clicks and move on. So, especially with the auto captions, I'm like, I don't want to get, and of course, it was like when I was getting ready to post a video, I'm like, I don't have
Yeah.
time for this. I'm like, I'm just going to upgrade because
How
I
much
just
was
wanted to
it
get
to
it done.
upgrade?
I
Was
think it's
it
like
do you remember?
$9 a month.
Okay, that's not bad. And
Yeah,
do you
it's
have
not.
I always say, do you have, like, a partner or an affiliate code if people wanna join CapCut? Because 'Cause they're hearing about it from you, so you might as well get some credit for it.
I don't have an affiliate. I'm not sure if they actually have affiliate. They might now for Pro, but I know when I looked into it before, they did not.
Yeah.
But thank you for that. I really appreciate that. And I know I hear you talking about it a lot too, and you use it, right?
I do use CapCut a lot, and I'm also a big proponent of, like, affiliate and partner links and things. And if we're gonna promote it, we might as well get some credit for supporting it, but I
Yeah.
haven't upgraded. I There is one thing you can do inside captions using the free version. It's not like you can't pick and choose what type of captioning, and
Mhm.
it's a little bit more difficult to get into it. And I'll be honest, if I used video a lot more, I probably would upgrade if it was part of my business like it is for yours, I would. Because I
Mhm.
feel like we get free samples a lot from these software, and we get so much better quality service, access to features when we pay to upgrade. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say too with CapCut, not to keep promoting that, but
Mhm,
when you look at all the different options, and I'm not sure about iMovie. So if you have an
mhm,
iPhone, I would say just use iMovie. It's free, it's on your phone. It probably maintains all the quality and has
mhm,
all the different editing tools that you need for like minor editing.
hmm.
But CapCut's one of the free, it's the only free one I know where when you've done all your editing, you can still export it into 1080, which is a high
Yeah.
resolution. Whereas, like, if
Okay.
you do a lot of other ones, even if you did it in 4K, if you're using the free version, it'll automatically take it down to 720. So it makes it
Okay.
more pixelated.
All right. So you're shouting out a lot of numbers here, and I think I
I
know
know.
what you're talking about. 1080, 427. Probably have said the numbers wrong.
Yeah.
So 1080 is the highest quality. That's what we should try to do our videos in both recording or if we're editing, download them in a higher quality. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can actually the numbers, the higher the number means the higher the quality, in case there's
Mhm.
people who are listening who aren't sure. So cameras today, including the ones on your phone, like the newer phones, you can actually record video in 8K, which is like
Okay.
the highest quality video available right now on phone
Mhm.
cameras. But typically people are going to record in 1080, which
Okay.
is it's normal. That's what most videos are that you see on YouTube. They're going to be
Mhm.
1080. And you can actually tell if you put like a 720, which is a lower resolution, and lower resolution means that it's going to be more pixelated. It's not going
Gotcha.
to be as smooth and you're not going to see as many details in the
Mhm.
video. Um, it's still okay, but people on YouTube in particular are getting pickier about the video quality that they're watching.
True.
Whereas like a year, 2 years ago, they weren't really. They were looking at audio.
Yeah.
Now it's audio and video. So if you're doing, super low quality videos, people are not going to watch your videos.
Okay. That's good to know. So look at the quality, and I would agree with you. I think we're becoming less apt to continue to watch a video with low quality, even if the audio is good.
Yeah.
We're like, yeah, click off it. There's plenty other people to
Yeah.
go scroll through. And it sounds like, I mean, I think you and I share some similarities in our approach. Like for me, I always think about if it's a video, it goes on my YouTube channel because that's my library. That's where all my videos go.
Mhm.
But I also will publish them on Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts or other places as well. Are you
Yeah.
the same way? Do all of your videos go into your YouTube library, Vicki, or do you pick and choose which ones go up on there?
YouTube gets all of them.
Mhm.
Even when I was just doing like Instagram Reels and TikToks, I would still upload them on YouTube as a YouTube short. Um,
Okay.
but now, just because each of the platforms, so meaning like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, even LinkedIn, Facebook, they're all
Mhm.
becoming so picky about what you
Yeah.
upload to that platform. So if you create
Mm.
a video in Instagram and want to upload it to YouTube, YouTube can sense the code of where that video came from. So it's
Mm.
automatically going to deprioritize that video because it's saying, hey, you use this tool in this other application and then you downloaded it and you're uploading it here. So
Mm.
it doesn't sound fair, but if you do testing on any of the platforms, you'll see the trend.
So what about using CapCut? Does that address this share issue? I know CapCut, I think, is owned by TikTok, if I'm not mistaken. So if I
Yeah,
create
it's
a
owned by
video
the
in Tech,
it's owned by the same company that owns TikTok. So ByteDance is the parent company. It owns both of them. But I
okay.
haven't seen a change or difference if I use CapCut because it's technically a third party app
Mhm.
versus using the tools in TikTok and then downloading it.
Okay, so let me ask you if I'm doing this correctly. Maybe this will help other people in the audience as
Okay.
well. I create a video. I'm walking my dog,
Yeah.
creating my walking with Pepper video, and I do it in little clips and I edit it in CapCut. And then I don't put captions in or anything, and I don't put music in. I just kind of edit, it's less than a minute video. I've got it
Mhm.
on my phone in my library. Now I go into Instagram and I upload it and I add in the Instagram version captions and the Instagram version music. I go into TikTok. I do the same thing. I upload the TikTok captions, the TikTok
Yeah.
music, and then I go up into YouTube and I just upload it organically. YouTube adds in the captions. I guess I could from there use CapCut burned in captions if I wanted though, right? And then upload it to YouTube.
Yeah, but I wouldn't recommend that just because YouTube has that capability where you can turn them on or off.
Hmm.
So if you burn them on, then there's no way for somebody to be like, I don't want to watch this with the captions. They can't turn
Now
it off then. Yeah.
now I've always told people like to use burned in captions because a lot of times we're watching videos on LinkedIn, for example, with our sound off. And if we
Mhm.
see the words up on screen, we're more apt to sometimes read it and oh, that looks interesting. Rewind. I want to see what Vicky just said in
Yeah.
the beginning.
Yeah.
And I sometimes will do that on YouTube, but not consistently.
Yeah.
Is there a penalty for having burned in captions, or do you think it's just a preference?
No, I think it's a preference, but I would say that if you use the captions within YouTube, it's another SEO component.
Okay.
So if it's burned into the video, it becomes part of the video. So
Mm,
if you're saying, let's say you're doing a video on how to grow your LinkedIn presence, so get more
mhm.
followers.
Yeah.
You're creating that video and you're saying LinkedIn, grow your audience, LinkedIn, and you're saying that constantly through your video, which is SEO, and that's what you're
Mhm.
wanting to rank for. If that's part of the video itself, it's not going to show up as SEO because it's
Okay.
video. If you add the
Okay.
captions, it's an extra layer, and
Mm.
YouTube can sense that. And therefore, it's going to increase your SEO ranking because you're saying those words. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Trying
rewatch
to
the
make it
video.
simple. That's why I'm talking slow because I'm like, I want to simplify it as I'm saying
Yeah.
it.
No, the good thing is I'm gonna rewatch this video again later and, like, process what you just said. Because as you know, when you're hosting these things, you're a little bit, like, piloting, co-piloting, and I'm thinking
Yeah.
about in my mind, I'm like the video producer. I'm like, "Okay, what comes next? We gotta get the audience Q&A going." And as I mentioned earlier, I'm newer to Restream. In StreamYard, I know where everything's at. In
Yeah.
Restream, it's like I said, the milk or the bread is in aisle 13 instead of aisle 7. So, you gotta figure out
Like,
and
where
then
is
I just
it?
I just realized I've got this as like a static caption, whereas sometimes I'll have things that are like a ticker that are kind of
Oh,
rolling
yeah.
along the bottom. Do you have any recommendations on as it relates to videos and even like video live streams like we're doing today? When should we use static versus when should we use running tickers? Do you have any preferences on that or thoughts on that?
No, I would just say it depends on probably like what you're promoting. So like right now you've got ticker, it's going to draw people's attention. Anybody who's coming in, they're automatically going to see like movement. So their eyes
Yeah.
are going to be taken to that. Versus if
Hmm.
it's stagnant and if you just keep it there and maybe turn it off, turn it on,
Yeah.
that may capture some attention. So I would just say be strategic with what you have as a ticker versus what is going to be static.
Okay. Isn't Vicki awesome? I just put that in a sticker. It says, "Isn't Vicki awesome?" Like, you all are probably like agreeing with me right now. Yes, she's awesome.
I'm like, you are so talented, Brenda. Look at how quickly you can change everything.
You know
You're
what
like
though?
the queen.
Full disclosure, I have to say that the "Isn't Vicky Awesome?" I do believe she is awesome, but I did do my first restream I did was with Bobby Umer. And if you all know Bobby, he is
Yeah.
awesome and he was on with me helping me and I was testing out captions and tickers. And as I was coming in prepping for the show today, I was going through and updating all the things I had in there from Bobby
Yeah.
originally. And I was like, oh, I go like this actually works for Vicky too. So I changed Bobby to Vicky. So it was at my ready in there, but I didn't have any plans for when to use it. I'm like, oh, this is perfect. I'll just pull from what I have and
And
pop it up
click.
on screen. Right? There you go.
I love
So
it. You're such a
we're
great
gonna
host with video. I would say if anybody's wanting to, and I talk about this behind your back, Brenda. I tell
aw.
people what a great host you are for like events, for live streaming, like how organized you are, how you're so detailed about what to expect ahead of time, what's going on. Even when we got on here, you were just
Yeah,
like, hey, and you explained, you're like, I'm new to Restream. We had a
right.
game plan. I'm like, I'll keep talking if you need to do these things. But you're just like, you're such a great person on live streaming, hosting events. And I just wanted anybody here to know that, not just from this experience, because we've done live streams before, but you're like my go-to if I have questions or if I'm like, hey, if you want to see how an event is actually hosted in an amazing way, go talk to Brenda.
Aw, thank you. And it reminds me of I can't remember who wrote the book. Maybe one of our viewers or listeners will remember, but it was like the Miss Manners book. I can't remember who it was, but they always said like
Oh, yeah.
the goal when you're hosting people at your house, it's not like to have the silver in the right order and who sits next. It's ultimately comfort and respect for your guests. And that's what
Hmm.
I look at. So when you come in as my guest, I don't want you feeling flustered like I don't have control of this ship. Like, I want you to feel like, oh, she's in control of this. But I
Always.
also want
Yeah.
right? But I also want you as my very special guest to come on my show and feel like, "Wow, what a great experience." And I want you to go and leave and go, "Well, that was great." It wasn't, sometimes you go on these interviews and it ends up being it feels like they were interviewing you, but you answer your
Mhm.
question, they like, "Well, that reminds me of my book, Social Media Pie, which you can now buy on Amazon,
Yeah.
or my course called Boot Camp with Brenda, which you can enroll in." And it ends up being like an infomercial for them. So I
Yeah.
want this to be like eyes are on you.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you saying that. So so thank
And I
you for that.
appreciate you making this such a great experience. That's why I talk about you behind your back because you make it such a great experience.
Aw, that's great. Okay, so I'm gonna drop in a couple comments. First
Okay.
of all, April, thank you for mentioning. This is one thing that we do in Restream. I'm trying to figure out how to get my hand right over here.
There you go.
So there's a QR code, and this is something we couldn't do. I couldn't do in StreamYard that we can do in Restream, and it's a really simple thing. By the way, I'm using the free version of Restream. I have streaming going to 3 networks. I can pull my logo and a couple things on screen. I can use this free QR code. And what I've noticed is when you type in the QR code, I think it's like 18 characters in the title. I have to double check, but then you put in the code and it automatically creates the code. By the way, anyone who's watching right now, test it out. Like hold your phone like literally up to the QR code. It used to be, remember Vicky when we used to have a QR code? Do you remember that? Like back in the day when the QR codes were first a
Yeah.
thing. Now all you need to do is hold your camera up and the QR code will load on your phone and then you can download the tips from Vicky. And actually, what are we looking at here? It's your talk about what the download is. Do you remember it's a
Yeah.
video visibility blueprint? Does that sound right?
Yes. So that is essentially everything that someone would need to like plan their videos, best practices for recording. So like you and I were talking about before, make sure you're looking at the camera, that sort of thing. And then also, editing your videos. So it's a very high level for somebody to go to and say, I have what I need to get started with video
Okay.
at a high level. There's no excuses. You have a
Yeah.
document, it's free, it's go
Yeah.
time.
Free's the best, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
April also mentioned she uses CapCut on her PC.
Mhm.
Wait a minute. I thought it was just an app. Do you use it on your PC too? I don't do that.
I have, yes, I've used it before, but it
Okay.
has a limit. Well, at least on the free version, it has a limit. They don't sync
Mhm.
up. So
Okay.
whatever videos you have on your app don't sync up with what your app is on your PC.
Gotcha.
And then also on the PC, the free version, they're separate, and you're maxed at how many videos or size. Like I don't know if it's based on megs or gigs or whatever, but I hit my limit. I just haven't spent time to go through and delete. So you can still
Gotcha.
use it. Yeah, it's still user
So
friendly.
so even with the paid version, the app and the desktop version don't sync up,
Mm-mm,
you're saying? Okay.
not
And
yet.
yeah,
I
not yet.
do you'd mentioned, so I don't wanna complicate this, but for people who I know there's people who are just like, "I don't want anything to do with TikTok," even if it's not TikTok, it's still related to
Yeah.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Descript, have you ever used that one before?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay,
Yep.
so that's another and I do have an affiliate link for that, but that one is really good for doing everything. Like, we're talking about an app where you can actually use a Word document where it's got the words. So it's essentially your transcript for your video, and you
Mhm.
edit your video based on the words. So if you
Okay.
want to automatically remove all of your ums or all of your pauses, it's a one
Mhm.
click and it automatically removes everything for you.
Okay.
So yeah, it's super easy to use.
I'm gonna put
Um,
that into the comments right now, and I'll just say it's just Descript and Descript. I've heard it. I think it's Descript. I think you're saying it right. I'm probably saying it wrong. Ask Vicky for her affiliate code. A lot of times when you use somebody's link, you will get a discount. They will get
mhm,
incentivized if you sign up through their link.
yeah.
But message her, and if you get a chance to go on the live stream on LinkedIn later, Vicky, and drop the link in there, that'd be
Okay.
awesome. And I'll put that in the YouTube and other places in the show
Yeah.
notes too. But
It's
yeah,
really
I love
helpful though for audio too. So like for
yeah.
podcasts, if anybody on here is doing podcasts and they're wanting to add video,
Hmm.
so you can do a one click and then you have your audio file download. Then you have another
Okay.
click where you get your transcript and you can create a blog post. You can also do clips, like where you could use like vertical videos. It automatically
Mhm.
does that, although they're not that great. But still, everything that you need within this one application can do everything that you need for different media types.
Okay, there you go, and I just figured out how to swap my QR code with my logo.
Like,
I'm
there we go.
learning as
Look
I
at you.
go. Nikki doesn't mind. She's a
The
friend. She's in video.
expert. You've become an expert on this live stream.
I did do a call with last week with somebody who's doing a was doing a restream live stream. She's like, "Can you help me?" I'm like, "I know enough about StreamYard, I know a little bit about Restream, but I know enough about live streaming software. I feel like similar to video editing software, someplace there's going to be a captioning capability. Someplace you can add stickers. Someplace you
Yeah.
can add media. You can crop. I mean, it's the same thing, isn't it, Vicky? Like the more you use
Mhm.
these software, the more comfortable you get about understanding the features within different types.
Yeah, and I would say
Mhm.
too, I don't know, Brenda, if you've noticed this too with, I mean, it pretty much seems anywhere that you can put video, you can edit. So an
Yeah.
example would be in Zoom, in
Mhm.
Canva. I did a Loom last week for my YouTube video where I was kind of walking through how to do something on my screen. And so I
Mhm.
was able to edit a Loom video inside Loom. I didn't have to export it,
Oh.
take it someplace else. So I would
Mhm.
say if you, whatever application that you're using for video, look to see if there's editing capabilities in there. Now you can't do a bunch of fancy editing, but you can edit in the middle, you can edit the beginning and end, which is what most people want to do.
Okay. And
Yeah.
one thing I'm doing right now too is I'm grabbing a little video clip of the two of us on my phone, and I'm going to
Yeah.
post this on Instagram
Oh,
later
okay.
because
I
Vicky
was
is so
going to
awesome.
too. But I'm
So
like, I
Royce,
put it in plane mode. Yeah, so it wouldn't ring.
what's that?
I had my phone, but I'm like, I better put it in airplane mode because when it rings, it comes through on my
Um,
computer, even if I have it
Ooh.
muted. So I'm like, I'm just
Yeah.
going to put it on airplane mode.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right. Royce has another question for us, Vicky, which is he says he likes to add text graphics for important points. Good idea, or is it too much? So he's referring to videos. He'll add like some text graphics, maybe pulling out important points in his video. What do you think about that?
I think it's a great idea because it's called a pattern interrupt. So instead of
Mm.
just seeing you, even if you do
Mhm.
like a full screen text image, or if you just do like a text image like up here, it's still interrupting how people are viewing your video. And the more times, I don't want to say do it a bunch, but the more times that you can do that, it's going to
Mhm.
keep people engaged.
Mhm.
So I say
Just
yes.
like I just changed the video view right now. That was a pattern interrupt,
Yes.
shifting the focus from both of us equally to making Vicky the hero of the video, something on there. But I think the key is strategically, because if I kept doing that
Mhm.
back and forth, if I kept navigating through the different things, I'm going to annoy people at some point,
Yeah.
and they're going to be like, "Okay, I don't like this,"
They're like, stop it. You're
Right.
you're making me dizzy.
Too much, Brenda Meller.
Yeah.
Slow it
Stop
down.
it.
Slow it down. All right. Daisy asked a question. Why did I switch to Restream? Asking as someone who's in a service. I actually StreamYard changed ownership, and right around the same time the ownership changed, I started having issues with live streaming, the stream quality, delay. And they weren't able to troubleshoot what was going on. I ended up having to use my older laptop for my live stream. So I had to before my show, I'd swap out my old laptop, my new laptop in, and I had to hook everything back up again. I don't know if it was related to the change in ownership or not, but I started asking around. I'm like, what's everyone else using? And I heard some other people having some similar issues and concerns with StreamYard. So Restream seemed to rise to the top of the list. I like it. I'll be honest with you, Daisy. I'm getting everything I was getting for the most part in StreamYard in the free version of Restream, meaning 3 networks, the ability to add my logos, the ability to add my brand colors, everything else. The storage isn't there. So I think they only save for so many hours or days and then you delete it. So you have to download it if you're going to put it on your podcast after. And then I use Descript to do editing, just like Vicki was saying. But I would say, Daisy, ask around. Mine is an opinion of one. And do you use StreamYard, Vicki, or what services are you using for live streaming, if any?
Yeah, I was using StreamYard, but now
Mhm.
that I'm hearing what you're experiencing with Restream and the fact that everything you have on screen right now, plus 3 locations, is
Yeah.
free, I'm going to be switching to Restream because live stream is on the free. You can only do 1 location, and you still have StreamYard as your logo, and you can't get
Yeah.
rid of it unless you upgrade.
Right.
So I'm going to be trying Restream.
Yeah, give it a try. And I will give a shout out to Bobby Umar, who is an affiliate for Restream. So if you end up using the paid version, check with him. And a lot of times, like I said, you'll get a discount on the service or some type of free trial or something, and then he gets the discount he gets some type of a motivation or an incentive for that as well. But at any rate, thank you for asking that question. Elizabeth earlier mentioned the great quality tips. So we were referring to quality of video, and I love the stat that you mentioned. Maybe you could repeat it again, Vicki. You said phone cameras today are equivalent of. Did you say camera technology from 10 years ago? Was
Yeah,
that correct?
professional camera quality from 10 years
Yeah,
ago. Yeah. So it
and
just
I've
goes to
always
show you how high quality it is by just using your phone. That's why there's no excuse for not getting started. You have
yeah.
everything you need right now. Quiet room, window, phone, you're good to go.
Mhm. Good. And I see there's a couple of your clients that are watching us. I'll give a shout out right now to Jihan Harity
Yay!
Ardanowski. She
AG.
is saying, and I'm reading this off because later on this will go into a podcast. I always like to tell people, why is she doing that? Because there might be people listening not able to read the comments on the screen. G says, couldn't agree more, Brenda. I've been fortunate to work with Vicki on video strategy, and she is amazing. So
Ah,
as we
I
start
love
to
G.
yeah, she's awesome.
She
Maybe as
is.
we start to wrap up, this is a really nice segue for us today here, Vicki. And if anyone is joining us late, we were talking today with Vicki O'Neill on video marketing made simple for introverts. And I know you do a lot of these events and you're doing videos and things like that, but you also have a business. So if
Yes.
people are interested in doing business with you, let's say this is a free sample they got from you for today. If they want to buy the whole pound of cheese, so to speak, and work with you, Vicki, can you remind us what are the services and offerings that you have?
Yeah, so I've got one-on-one coaching, and that could entail anything from if you're fearful of getting on camera, building your confidence on camera, all the way up to doing a strategy, being your accountability partner. I'm kind, but I also hold you accountable. Just putting that out there. But then I also do small group programs, and then I'm going to be rolling out some new things here in the next month or so, focused
Okay.
on helping people get up and running on YouTube. So if you don't have a YouTube channel, this will help you do that on your own. But I just started last week, Brenda. I'm not sure if you saw or not. It was kind of last minute. I'm all about don't overthink it, just do things.
Mhm.
So this past Saturday, I think I decided on Friday, I was going to go live on YouTube Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern. and I'm going to do live audits of
Oh,
people who
cool.
have existing YouTube channels. Now, I'm not going
Okay.
to, like, I did an audit that you're familiar with. I am not going to go that deep, but I'm going to give them enough tips and pointers so that they can make sure their banner, they're optimized. And then if I need to look at some videos, I can do that too. But yeah, I'm going to be doing that on Saturdays. So I would say if you're watching this on whichever platform, just reach out to me. Probably on LinkedIn is the best way to do it. Just send me a DM and
Okay.
let me know, and then we can take it from there.
Okay. And I just changed out the ticker in case someone is watching and they want to check out Vicki
You're
on
so easy to
YouTube.
work with. Yeah.
Right? I mean, come on. Yeah,
Very
I mean,
simple.
don't try this at home, folks. If you're not a trained expert, it is something with practice that you get comfortable with. And sometimes I fumble through, but I always tell people I don't make mistakes. I have learning experiences. And using this new technology, I'm kind of building up my library of comments and things that will be set up. And now that I've done this with Vicki, my next guest, I'll have like pre-populated the list of things in here that I'll be working off of as well. But that said, definitely recommend following Vicki on YouTube. Now, you said you're doing mini audits. Are these a paid service or are these something that you're picking people compliment? How do people
Yeah.
get a I have a friend who's wondering, how do you get a mini audit if you wanted to sign up for something?
There's a form. So if anybody's interested, actually, when we're done here, I'll go ahead and put that as my the link on my profile.
Okay.
So if anybody's interested, you do need to complete the Google form because I have to look at your channel ahead of time,
Hmm.
just to make sure if there's audio, especially if you're using music. Like I can't have that on my channel, or else I'll get a chance, if it's not copyrighted or whatever. So I just need to do some upfront due diligence. So it is required that you fill out the form, but it's free. And yeah, so I'm going to be live an hour every Saturday. This past Saturday, it was like 15 minutes because I didn't tell people. I think one or two people might have showed up throughout the time. So I was just talking and just making the most of the time I was there. But if people show up during that live, then I will do like a, 5 to 10 minute audit of their channel and
Okay.
give them some tips that they can actually go take action on and make it better.
That's great. And then it gives us the experience of watching you in practice, seeing how
Yes.
you work and you
Yeah.
get a little something out of it. We get a little something out of it. So a really
Yeah.
great thing. So
Exactly.
awesome. Well, as we wrap up here today, Vicki, I want to pull up your LinkedIn profile up on screen. Whoops, I clicked the wrong button. I did not go away. I'm still here. Remember, I'm still new to Restream and I'm trying to figure out which aisle the bread is in at the grocery store here. So
We're
let's see if I
looking.
click. There we go. I click on share. Here is your LinkedIn profile, and
Yeah.
you're open to connecting with people if they're watching us on the show here today.
Yep. Absolutely. Just
Wonderful.
tell
And
me
I
you
see
found me through Brenda's live stream. I always like to know how people find me.
good. And I see I'm going to highlight it on here, but it says launch your YouTube channel. So it looks like you have something.
Hmm.
Is that your download, your video tips, perhaps?
That is probably, I think that's getting started with YouTube. It's a checklist. So if you do
Okay.
want to, I'm going to be switching that out based on our live stream and all, for
Something
um,
else in there.
the YouTube
Yeah.
audit, but I'll put
Okay.
that back up probably in a week. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's like a
Awesome.
checklist. If you want to set up your own YouTube, then you can
Mhm.
download that and it's got all the steps that you need.
Oh, okay. Well, there might be someone watching who's maybe thinking about starting up their YouTube channel. So if you miss it because she swapped it over, I'm sure if you connected with Vicki and you messaged her really nicely, she'd probably include you that checklist
I
as
will.
well.
I'll do it
Yeah.
nicely.
Awesome. Okay, so as we wrap up today, I want to remind everyone as soon as you're done watching the video, whether you're watching it on YouTube, LinkedIn, I don't think Instagram will let you do this, but let's assume you're watching this on YouTube or LinkedIn. As soon as you're done watching the video, go ahead and click on share. Share the video along with someone in your network. If it's on LinkedIn, if you haven't yet posted this week, this month, or even in the past year, it's a great way of just restarting your activity for posting again. And when you do so, make sure that you tag Vicki and myself in comments. Use the @ sign until you see our names pop up. That way we'll get notified and we will comment back, which helps to jumpstart the process of getting some great audience engagement. And if you joined late, I want to encourage you to go watch back to the beginning because there were some really great tips today on video marketing with Vicki on video marketing made simple with introverts with Vicki O'Neill. So thank you so much, Vicki. It was a delight having you here today and such great tips for us.
Oh, thanks so much, Brenda. I always appreciate our conversations and you letting me share your space with your community. I really appreciate that because it shows a lot of trust. So thank you.
Yeah. My pleasure. Thank you for everything I've learned from you, and I will continue to learn from you. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about what you're doing to help the women over 42, because, like I said, that's my crowd, and very intrigued about that.
We'll
So,
have to
looking
talk
forward to
more.
it. Yeah. All right, everyone, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a wonderful afternoon. We will see you all on LinkedIn and perhaps YouTube as well. Take care.
Okay. Bye.